welcome back to the Body for Minds podcast. In the last episode, we talked about the battle that often happens inside of us, the tug of war of me versus me, or in your case, you versus you. But that's not the full picture. And maybe you got a bit upset also thinking, well, hang on a minute, it's not just in my head. And no, it's not. And for that reason today, I want to zoom out. Because while inner awareness is powerful, let's be honest, ambitious mums are also navigating a world that wasn't built with us in mind. So no, it's definitely not all in your head. And I want to use this episode to talk a bit about the odds we're up against and acknowledge those. Let's start with the workplace. The motherhood penalty is real. Research shows that mothers earn on average 5 to 10% less for every child, while fathers often experience what's called the fatherhood bonus. In the European Union, the gender pay gap is still around 12.7%, and in the US, women earn about 82 cents for every dollar men earn, with a gap even wider for mothers and women of color. On top of that, career breaks, reduced hours, or part-time work often stall promotions. And even though part-time workers are frequently more productive per hour, there is still a stigma attached to these arrangements. Then there's the question of support. Childcare costs vary wildly depending on where you live and how old your child is. In the US, full daycare for one child can run from about $6,500 in smaller or rural communities up to $15,000 to $25,000 or even more per year in large urban areas. On average, families spend around $13,000 annually, which often amounts to 10 to 15% of household income. In many EU countries, affordable full daycare is still hard to find. Beyond childcare, there's the so-called second shift. Globally, women do about 2.5 times more unpaid care work than men. And as if that wasn't enough, many mothers belong to the sandwich generation, caught between raising children and supporting aging parents. Cultural expectations add another layer. Ambitious women face a double bind. If they push forward, they are criticized for being too career-focused. If they scale back, they are judged for not being ambitious enough. Motherhood myth and guilt fuel constant self-doubt, while so-called weaponized incompetence in households and workplaces often pushes additional tasks back onto mothers' shoulders. And trends like the treadwife movement glamorize retreating from work, creating even more confusion and pressure. And then there's health. It's another major area where the odds stack up against mothers. Women's health remains deeply under-researched. In the UK, less than 2% of publicly funded medical research is dedicated to reproductive health beyond cancer. Perimenopause and menopause, increasingly overlapping with motherhood due to later age childbirth, remain underfunded and often dismissed in medical training. Postpartum care is equally lacking. In many countries, a 6-week checkup marks the end of maternal care, despite high rates of postpartum depression and pelvic floor dysfunction. And finally, policy and financial systems rarely work in mothers' favor. In some countries, tax systems penalize secondary earners, often the mother, making full-time work less attractive. Pension systems reward uninterrupted work histories, disadvantaging mothers who take breaks. And even when generous parental leave exists on paper, workplace culture often discourages fathers from taking it, which leaves mothers to shoulder the imbalance yet again. So this was a quick run through all these numbers and stats, all of which show that the system is stacked against us. So when you look at this big picture, it's clear. Ambitious mums are not just battling themselves. We are moving through a landscape full of hurdles. And yet, here's the reframe. Acknowledging these odds isn't about giving up. It's about getting real. Because while we can't change the system overnight, we can decide how we position ourselves within it. We can invest in our own energy, our own body awareness, and our own vision of what a fulfilled life looks like. And when we do, we model something powerful for our children. That despite the odds, it's possible to stand tall, lead with intention, and live fully as ourselves, So next time you wonder if it's you, remember, it's not all in your head. The odds are real, and so is your power to choose how you meet them. And if you haven't yet listened to the previous episode on me versus me, I recommend you do, because understanding your inner landscape makes today's big picture view even more meaningful. And stay tuned for next week too, when I'll dive deeper into the different spheres of influence that shape our daily lives as ambitious mums. You'll see how these circles of influence interact, and more importantly, how you can navigate them with greater clarity and intention. Until next time, more you, not more to do.